Hello, and we are on Revolution Radio. This is Misha with Starseed Awakening, and I'd like to let you know that we've got a couple of, well, actually, possibly three really interesting guests today. In the European sector, we have Andrea Sadegh from Austria, and then we have Hussey from Wales, I understand. I believe he's still in Wales. And they'll be talking about what is going on over in Europe with the trauma-based mind control, the ritual abuse, the child trafficking, and every other avenue. As always, I'll just tell you a little bit about my organization. Here at Starseed Awakening is a local organization as well as an internet organization. I have groups here that are for experiencers of ET contact, starseeds waking up, people who are waking up to the fact that the world is going through a conscious raising event, and that ascension is happening, and especially since this September 26th, 7th, people have been feeling this energy coming in and feeling the urgency that the word must get out, the information must get out. So the groups are monthly, and in fact, my next group is going to be a Halloween party, our yearly costume ball, and I encourage anyone who is in the Las Vegas area, Las Vegas, Nevada is where I live, that please join us. Come to the meetup site and sign up for the party. It's going to be a lot of fun. Karaoke, psychic readings, all kinds of interesting astrology, all kinds of interesting things that are going to be going on. So also through my internet organization, I have Starseed Awakening and ET Contact Experiencer group through Facebook. That is for people who are experiencers, who want to talk to other experiencers. I've put my events for my radio shows, for my different groups, because I have live groups on Google Hangout for experiencers every Sunday at 11:30. You can just go to Google Hangout, add it, if it's an app, or put it, download it on your computer, and then you can join those live groups. Pursuant that you are an experiencer or are starseed who are having these awakenings and feel that you want to talk to other people who are also waking up and having these awakenings. So please join us 11:30 tomorrow, from 11:30 to 2:30. That's Pacific Standard Time, and you can go on the site for the event. Also, you can go to our MK Ultra group, which is for people who have, of course, talking about the things like we're going to be talking about today. And we talk about all those facets of that. We also have, of course, a Google Hangout group. And these groups, of course, are free. A donation would be lovely accepted, but they are every Thursday from 1 to 4 o'clock. I will be adding a night group for my Australian and New Zealand members very, very soon. So that might make it a little easier, even for the European people, to attend the groups more. Also, you can go to my starseedawakening.org, and I do sessions there, multidimensional galactic sessions, where you are speaking with your galactic family via channeling of both the galactic light language and the channeling as well. So you can go check that out at starseedawakening.org. So I also, of course, need to talk about donations. Donations are very, very important. And at the break, I'm going to explain how specific we want you to get. Donations are ultimately the most important thing for our Revolution Radio. It is what keeps us going. If you do not donate, Revolution Radio can't keep on the air. It is really up to you, the listeners, to help and donate for Revolution Radio. And if you enjoy my show, donate. Donate And I will tell you specifically how you can do that on the next break. So I'm going to just tell you about our guests. First of all, my first guest is Andrea. Sadegh. I always never can get her name right because we're good friends and we call each other by Andrea and Misha. So well, it's, how do you pronounce it, darling?
Hi, Misha. My name is Andrea Sadegh, and you pronounce Sierra, Alpha, Delta, Hotel, and Golf.
Okay, and so Andrea has been very, very important in the movement there in Austria and in the German-speaking countries to bring out this information of the ritual abuse, the trauma-based mind control within the children. There is a horrendous organization there that actually takes children from their parents, puts them in the system, and then proceeds to use them and sacrifice and ritual abuse and trauma-based mind control. And she has a website that will give you so much information. She has a survey that you can have to give to your children to see if you think maybe something like that is happening to you, to your children. And I'm going to just let her share a little bit more about everything she's doing. She is it's a real honor to have her, and she is such a warrior there in her area. And not by her own not fear, but for her own protection, because she's been attacked so much. So, Andrea, thank you so much for coming, a dear friend, and we work together in the groups and such. How are you doing today?
Thank you for having me, Misha. And it's fine here. We have lots of work to do for raising the awareness in terms of trauma-based mind control. We have the situation here within the whole German-speaking countries that no one talks about trauma-based mind control, and just even ritual abuse is nearly unknown. So we have the situation that no one knows about it, no one sees it, and no one can treat the children, no one can recognize those small ones who have to suffer so much.
Yes, and this is a very personal thing to you as well. Can you just tell the folks a little bit about your own story?
Yeah, in 2011, my then 2-year-old son started to visit his father on his own once a week for a whole day, and he started to come back very ill, and no doctor, no physician had any clue what was the matter with him, and he stopped talking. He then needed soothers again, and so on and so on. There was a lot of regression within his development. I couldn't explain. And all of a sudden, he changed totally his way of behavior. And during a break of these visits on the weekends, he started to talk about the most horrific happenings he had to suffer. He had to go through. He told me about torture, about being tortured, about waterboarding, about getting raped, about being used as a baby prostitute. Yes, and this came out step by step. Of course, he didn't tell me like I'm talking now to you, but it came out mostly within horrible flashbacks, meaning something triggered him or something came into his mind, and all of a sudden he started to cry. He started to shout out. He started to shiver, or he even fainted when remembering all those things. And first, in the beginning, I had no clue what was done on him, what was the point, and piece for piece, day for day, we find out actually what's going on. And what I did, I was trying to find help here in Vienna, in Austria, and no doctor, no one even wanted to examine the boy. And what I started then is to describe in detail, write down what he told me, what I asked him, in which situation he had these flashbacks. I also made audio tapes, and I handed all this together to courts, but they never responded. And months later, I found actually out, well, this is a classical case of ritual abuse of trauma-based mind control. And of course, I wasn't aware of it before, because otherwise I would have tried to leave the country immediately with him. So we found out step by step.
Oh my. And
Yeah.
that was when he was 2.
Yes.
And he is now...
He's now 6.5 years old.
How often are you allowed to see him?
They separated us when he was 3 years old, because they were afraid of his of the traces of the injuries on his body, and of course of his splitted personality. So they knew we will find out, and they could get into trouble, because my son recognized a lot of members of the Austrian establishment.
Mm-hmm.
So he recognized a lot of perpetrators, and I think that was the trouble. And now he's away for 3.5 years, and I'm allowed to see him every 2 months for 2 hours under supervision, and it's heartbreaking, because they let me know, we are going on to torture your child. We are going on to program him within any kind of mind control programming. And this summer, you know it, I told you, he showed every sign of getting this sensory deprivation programming.
Uh-huh.
What was heartbreaking for me to see this beloved child isolated, and talking with himself, and it's heartbreaking. Yes.
Talking to himself. So
Yeah.
what are some of the things that he says that you absolutely know what they're doing? Kind of like maybe other parents should watch for these kinds of signs, because not only is it happening in Europe, but it's also happening here in America.
Yeah. We designed a kind of survey where we described the symptoms these small toddlers are having, or the small children are having, because authorities do not tell us. So what I found in scientific literature, but also experienced on my small one, are things like they report on having been dressed with weird clothing, like ballet dresses, wedding dresses, ritualistic dresses with hoods, and so on. They report on having been married. They report
having been married. So,
yes.
So if a child says to you, "I got married today," you better listen. Hmm?
Yes, you better should listen, because if a 6-year-old is telling you this, it might be a game.
Mm-hmm.
But if 2 or 3 years old is telling you, you really should watch out what is going on.
Yes, yes.
It's this age gap where we really have to be very careful. How can such a small child talk about such things?
Of course. Where in the world did they get it from? I mean, they don't even watch. You know, they're watching cartoons. How can they possibly get anything like that from that?
Yeah. And my son even did not watch cartoons at this age, or nearly no cartoon. And every single cartoon we watched, I was sitting beside him. So, so where exactly what you say? Where do they have it from? If they haven't seen it, if they haven't experienced it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes.
Then other things are that toddlers or children report on that a monster, an entity, or a ghost would have been placed into them, and it would be therefore living with them for the rest of their lives.
Oh my goodness. Imagine your child saying that. Just, oh.
Yeah, yeah. They are this part this kind of thing is part of this satanic ritual abuse. Um, we suppose that they are playing with satanic entities. Um, of course, I don't know exactly. I don't know what they are doing definitely, but of course they are um, within satanic ritual abuse. They at least believe that they would place an entity within the child.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Yeah. Um, other other reports are about that there would be a genuine home or an unknown parent that would be the real or genuine mommy or daddy. So all of a sudden there comes another home or another mommy or another daddy, and you do not know this person.
Uh-huh.
And the children are talking about them. For them, it's real, and you have no idea where do they come from all of a sudden.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
yeah. Another point is you have to stop me if if it's boring or
No, 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 no. It's not boring. It's very important. I think people
yeah.
need to
It's
know. I mean, you've done a lot of research and found from your
yes.
own experience of what going on. So please do go on.
Another point, very important point, is that they do have a secret which they're not allowed to mention or even talk about that. Um, this is a very important point because children in this age should not have a secret, and these
No.
children always have a secret. So whenever you listen to the word secret, I think you should be very careful which secret, with whom do they have it, because it could be a very dangerous secret if they get abused. No.
Oh, I understand that. You see, I was raised in a trauma-based mind control, culture family, and my program was the secret butterflies
Mm.
because my father was a hypnotist. So I understand that, and I mine started at 3 years old. That I've actually been able to uncover, but I'm not sure how much further back it goes. So yes, I can confirm that completely. That the secret is the worst thing ever. I
Yeah.
did learn. You know what's one good factor about it is because that happened to me. It never had to happen to my kids because I learned the signs
Hmm.
to watch for.
Yeah. 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 I think it's the most important thing to watch out for the signs so you can really protect your children. If you don't know the signs, I think you do not have any chance.
Right. So what are I know you mentioned a couple more things to me.
Mhm.
In fact, you showed me a video of his interaction, what was going on with him, where you actually saw him kind of do a split personality thing. Um, I guess that would be another thing. Your child also almost becoming a dual personality or
Mhm.
acting very sweet one moment and then whew, just little demon child the next.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's also a sign. Within 10 seconds or so, I made a picture of him, and 10 seconds later, the next one, and there I got a personality child on the camera, a personality split on the camera, and you really can see this before this cute child, and then this demonic looking child. Um, these things are definitely signs for these personality splits. Um, then these children are reporting about being tortured with weird objects. So my son also told me that he would have been beaten by a garden gnome or by a toilet brush or by a Mickey Mouse. Then he told me about waterboarding. He told me about being levitated. So he was outside his body, meaning he was dissociated, and he was looking from outside his body to himself. He showed me, we saw a cartoon where a figure within this cartoon was levitating, and my son said, me too, at daddy's house, what is it, mommy,
Oh.
You really have to listen very carefully what they are looking at, and they really want to find out what was happening there, what they experienced. Then that they are, nearly every child is talking about that they have been locked in basements, in cages, in coffins, in boxes, in water tanks. Many of them are talking that they have been injured with dazzling lights or shrill noises, or being beaten, being kicked, being electroshocked, being pricked with a needle, being burnt or cut. That are also clear symptoms for that kind of crimes, besides the classical being raped from adults as well, partly from animals.
Say that again?
That they are raped from adults as well as partly from animals.
Rape
we notice in Europe. Yes.
Oh my.
Yes, we noticed from the True case in Belgium, and we know there are even pictures, even still in the internet, where you can see that these children had to sexually satisfy animals, Misha.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Yes. Sorry, it's heavy.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's okay, because, it's true. I have my own memories about that. So, yeah, it's really horrendous for them to go through that.
Yeah.
So I did find out that, or not find out, but you told me during the groups, because you attend, of course, the MK Ultra groups on Thursdays, and
Yeah.
that you have told us the kind of ongoing thing since you joined the group 2 years ago, that at first you were able to see him with no one around, unsupervised, and now, since they realize that he actually, you have an ability, of course, because you have social work as your background, of able to get so much information from him, they have now made it so that it's completely supervised and you can't have these conversations anymore?
No, they cut our time. Before I was allowed to see him every 2 weeks for 2 hours, and now I'm allowed to see him every 2 months for 2 hours.
Right. So being punished for that, of course.
Yes, definitely. And it's as you say, it's too dangerous for them to find out more, because he still is telling me a lot of things. So they are quite afraid me to find out more and more and more and publish it, of course. Or using it for the case, bringing all together it to court again and so on.
Yes, and in fact, we're going to be on the break here just shortly. So, when you come back, we'll talk more about what you are doing about it in court cases and such. And but it's how would you say would be the first thing a parent should see if something's going on with their child?
The first thing are these illnesses of the children, of the toddlers, when no doctor can find any single reason. They get high fever and do not recover.
Okay, well, we're going to continue with that when we come back.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message.
Please, anything but sitar music. Yeah, that's better. You're invited to Sacred Cow Barbecue. I'm your host, Patricia Aiken. My guests will free your mind from mainstream manure. No subject is off limits. Don't believe everything you think. It's BS. Just our collective belief system programmed into us. Question everything. Come hungry for truth because that's what we're serving. Sacred Cow Barbecue, Tuesdays from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern in Studio B.
What are we supposed to do?
I'm going to fight because I'm used to it. The rest of you are going to have a tougher choice. And look, I don't want to sell it to you. It's too ugly for that. And it's ugly and it's hard. But when you're fighting in your own backyard, you're fighting for your family. It all hurts a little less and it makes a little more sense. But for us, this is our home. Even the tiniest flea can drive a big dog crazy. So the first thing we have to do is learn how to work together. Become a unit. And that's going to take some time. So we're going to have to evolve. Rewire our reflexes. Learn new skills and adapt old ones. So we'll find people we can trust. Friends with their ears to the ground who can help us get the things we need to fight back. Watch what they do. Study their tactics, their routines. The more we know, the easier it will be to hurt them. But we'll need to be smart. And we'll need to be patient. We'll hit them on our terms. When we're good and ready. We inherited our freedom. Now it's up to all of us to fight for it.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, where the fight begins and information never sleeps.
Hi, join us on Monday nights for Odyssey at 10 p.m. Eastern Time in Studio B with your host, Michael David. We discuss all types of ancient and modern mysteries, from the Anunnaki to legends and mythology. We often have live guests such as well-known authors and experts on many esoteric topics. Join the intrigue and mystery every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time in Studio B.
Hey everyone, it's Barbara Jean Lindsay, the Cosmic Oracle. If you have questions about your past lives or future plans, need answers from the cosmos about your love life or career, or just want to keep your finger on the pulse of the planet, check out my show, The Cosmic Oracle, here on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
The Secret Society Revealed. With your host, Joseph Atwell, author of Caesar's Messiah, The Roman Conspiracy to Invent Jesus, and Shakespeare's Secret Messiah, the groundbreaking discoveries that gives us a new understanding of how governments and elites use mind control to manipulate their subjects. Join Mr. Atwell as he lifts the veils of deceptions of our modern world. Mondays, 12 noon Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time on Revolution Radio.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Hi, and we're back, and I just wanted to, as I said earlier about the donations, between now and Tuesday, October 20th, any $50 donation received during my show, either you say Silver Rush or includes my name, Misha Johnston, you will receive 1 ounce bar of silver. That's $50 donation, so that is really worth it. Also, you make sure that you do put your postal address and details on that donation as well. Also, the $75 donation received during my show, and you say ball cap, that includes your name, and your information, your address and such as that, and will also include my name. You will receive Revolution Radio ball cap. And of course, always remember those wonderful seed packs, with things that are going to be happening to Earth most likely. Those seed packs are really going to come in handy. So you should also buy those. Those are really important to have for the survival of your family. So in closing, you were just talking about one more horrendous thing with your child. So please go on, Andrea.
Okay. Well, before you ask me about these classical symptoms children showing.
Right. And the sicknesses that are very odd. That's kind of interesting, I got to say, because, and I'm not saying that this is always a connection, but is there a connection there? I used to have very weird diseases and rashes and things like that. I attributed them all to just the ETs, that it was ET contact and stuff like that. Is there a possibility, I'm wondering now, that not only is it also possibly an anomaly of this trauma-based and ritual abuse, MK Ultra control, that's going on that with our children and such. So give us a little more detail about these diseases and what the doctors didn't even know. What was the symptoms of these diseases?
The symptoms were high fever and the doctor said this would be a kind of infection. He would have the flu or something like that, but no one could explain the high fever, this being ill over weeks and even months. And it was a clear sign of his soul that what he had to suffer was just too much. And whenever a child is ill for such a long period of time, without no reason actually, I just would be very, very careful and look for the next doctor and the next doctor and the next doctor. Because and never trust just one doctor. It might be dangerous. Right,
Absolutely.
Yeah. What also was very visible, he had this horrendous inner tension and a lot of stress I could not explain. But the problem is with a 2-year-old, they are totally in regression, meaning he was able to talk before a few words, a few sentences, but getting tortured, they are losing this ability to talk. So we started to work with children books where he showed me some pictures, but it's really difficult to find out when they are so small, Misha.
Well, yes, of course. And we tend to think it's all in their imagination. And that's the first thing, that we're kind of programmed is, the monster in the closet and the monster under the bed and all these different things that we're just programmed that just let all that go. But children in that age don't lie. They also have to have seen something or experienced that for them to bring it out.
Yeah, definitely. Or they're pointing, in children books, they're pointing at these kinds of things, like the ballet dresses, for example. My son told me he pointed at a picture of a ballet dress.
Of a what? I'm sorry, of a what?
A ballet dress.
Oh, ballet dress, okay.
Ballet dress. And he said, this would be a daddy's home. So you just get this small of pieces of information, and you really have to collect them and watch out for this kind of information.
Yes, and then you had a situation where if you are allowed to say that your ex-husband was higher up in the government, and which made probably one of the reasons why they took your son in the first place.
Yes, definitely.
His family as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this I didn't know before, so I just found out it later, that actually the ex-husband just did a job, and because this crime is so unknown here, and even in Austria, you have the situation that the public does not even is aware that we have a secret agency here. So it's quite uncommon. You don't have the situation in America with the CIA and all these kind of offices, but here it's like here everyone is sleeping, no one is aware that we have it next door.
Mm-hmm. And so he was, per se, a secret, working within the secret agent? Is that what you were saying?
Yes, definitely, yes.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, yes, of course, and that makes you, unfortunately, a target. And the sad thing about it is these people who are in the place that they give up their children, they do it for nefarious reasons. So, and some of it is they can get out of trouble they've got themselves into, or they've been, or, you know, like in my case, things like a monarch would be trained to go in and you know, have sex with a high official or something like that, and so now it's blackmail. Now they have this to hold over their head, or perhaps, you know, these snuff films and things that these people get into, so they have that to hold over their head, and they'll do anything to save their own skin, including give their children up.
Yeah, they do this here a lot within the German-speaking countries. Exactly like you explained it, to get blackmail material, and of course the younger the kids are, the more blackmail load you do have, no?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, anything else you'd like to say? You know, I would also like everyone to know, I already had Andrea here tell her complete full story, which also includes a bit of her own background, being that she does not have any memory of her childhood. And right now her important things are getting her child out of this system. But at some point in her life, she's going to have to take a look at why she doesn't have childhood experiences or memories whatsoever, and why she's estranged from her family as well, doesn't trust her mother. In fact, I understand that your mother has also had custody of your child as well, which just abhors you. Exactly?
Yeah, it's very... you know the story. It's very interesting actually, because I reported to court, even to the prosecution office. My son was still with me. That my mother, meaning his grandma, is involved in the case, and she took part in the rituals done on him, and to the torture and so on, and he's allowed to stay in her house, at her house. So you see that the government is working with abusive parents or grandparents. And this is done worldwide, as you know.
Yeah, it's pretty sad when you can't even trust your own mother.
No, but now I know much more things, Misha. I learned so much from you. Thank you for that. Oh. And now I'm convinced that she's programmed herself. She must be in a kind of satanic ritual cult. I don't know exactly. I just can assume, but she's definitely programmed on her own.
So tell me one other thing. In your relationship with your husband prior to the breakup and then the the kidnapping, basically, that he did with your child. What happened just prior to the dissolution of the marriage, and how did he start acting? Did he start acting funny? Was he gone a lot? I'm just kind of getting some ideas of how someone also can watch for things like that as a spouse.
Okay. The story is quite or very similar, like it's done in America. Obviously, he was recruited to get married and to get me pregnant. And as soon as these two jobs were done, actually also the marriage broke down, the relationship broke down. And before, he was this kind of perfect soulmate, this kind of perfect partner, this kind of perfect husband. And all of a sudden, it broke apart as soon as he fulfilled his job.
As he what?
As he fulfilled his job.
Oh, his job. Oh, I see. Okay.
So it's this kind of Romeo strategy, and it corresponds definitely to all these stories that we know already. How the agents are approaching, how they want to get close to you. Then next step, to get into your life. They are eager to marry you, are promising you everything. You feel like a princess, and all of a sudden, as soon as the job is done, they don't have any interest in you because they just did their job.
Right. Well, I know about that. Now, I had a marriage I didn't even remember anything about.
Maybe you're lucky. I would love to have amnesia in this case, but it's so obvious, and they're not even hiding it because they know they are protected from government, so they can do anything they want.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Protected by the courts. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you in your group, because you also have a group on Facebook that is for German-speaking and European people, I imagine, as well as French. I think you also speak that. But you have this group. Tell us about the group that you have and what you discuss, and invite people to that group.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm focusing generally here within the German-speaking countries to raise awareness, because here this kind of crimes is nearly unknown. So there are so many mothers on Facebook are looking for some solutions, for some help. They do not know what happened to their children, why the children are taken away. And when you talk to them, either on Facebook or over these hangouts I'm doing for the German-speaking countries, like you for America, you find out that it's the same. One case is like the next case. They're so similar, and you find out that many more mothers have the same faith than me. Their kids are also ritually abused. They partly, it's very obvious that they also are used for mind control programs, meaning trauma-based mind control programs. And what we are doing is we are talking about. I give a lot of information, so they can better handle the situation, or maybe find also their way to get out their children.
Well, yeah, I see this, and it just breaks my heart to see it now. And I even have a couple of people that are in the group who have already, they're 19, 20, 21, and they have already lived this entire horrendous life of trauma-based mind control, and are still living it. And now it's amazing that some of them are actually breaking the programming a bit and coming to these groups and such. We had one particular gal that works a little bit on your second website that you have. The name of that website is Find Your Handler.
It's an open project. We have not designed it now, but we want to publish it, and it should be called something like Find Your Programmer, Find Your Handler, meaning we want to make this kind of group visible worldwide, and even my son recognized, as I do know now, 4 main programmers that are working within the Western, meaning working within the German-speaking countries, but are also known in America. And I think it's time to give them a place where the names are published, their pictures are published. Of course, they are alleged programmers, not to risk anything, but I think it should become visible, because otherwise they're just going on, ruining the lives of millions of people. That's not fair. So it's just an idea to make them visible, and I'm not afraid to be brought into court. I don't mind. Truth is much more important than this.
Yes. And I just wanted you to, maybe if you have it there handy, if you don't, that's fine too. But the very cleverly written post that you had about, because in actuality there are websites, there are of course underground websites that these sick individuals can go to for pedophilia and all these other horrible things, and you have actually written out for several different I should say like United States and United Kingdom and all of that. Do you have one of those handy that you can read it? Because it's kind of I guess you might call it a tongue-in-cheek thing. However, it's a real thing that basically you have uncovered.
I didn't catch the point, Misha. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, maybe I can find it and read it a little bit later. In fact, I probably could. I can go on your Facebook and read it. But the information, the little post you sent to me, and I said, whoa, this is amazing. It has the emblem of the United Kingdom. It has United States.
I'm sorry. I now realize,
okay.
Yes. This small campaign I made. As a founder of the network Trauma-Based Mind Control, especially here within the German-speaking countries, we made a small advertising campaign. I just posted it for you now here, where we were playing with the responsibility of the government itself, and we pretended that the President of the Republic of Austria, of the Republic of Germany, of Great Britain, of Switzerland, even of the United States, would talk to the public by saying, for example, I can read one.
Yeah, please read one. That's the best thing.
For example, Her Majesty's government informs toddlers and children for celebrations, balls, rituals, hunts, or other illuminating events can be, as since decades, delivered directly to your home. Her Majesty's government and its authorities guarantee full legal protection. An adequate donation or other contribution for the Grand Lodge is desirable and taken for granted. More information at parliament.uk or directly at government UK, government, and so on. And why we did this campaign was just to show that actually the government has the responsibility to stop these kind of crimes, and they're doing nothing. And so it's quite provocative. It's quite black humor, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it gets the point because government should protect us, no?
Yes, they should. Yes, and it does. Exactly. I think when I read it, I almost thought it was that somebody had been able to cut it off of a website or something, because it seems so real and apropos, because it's exactly what they're doing with these children. I mean, it's not just in the German-speaking countries, but it's. I know that our other guest, Carl Hussey, is going to be talking about it everywhere, including Canada and United Kingdom, and it's in South America. It's everywhere. It's in Africa. And of course it's in America. And people have to wake up to the fact that this is happening. And not only are these children, from an ET experiencer's point of view, I've also been in underground bases and also been in these ritual abuses where there were government and alien, these were reptilians at the time, and I saw some tall grays that were there at the same time. And during a ritual abuse ceremony, there was in fact these types of the reptilian and the government in a uniform, and then the people in their black hooded and actually more like purple hooded clothing, and doing these horrible things to children. So, I know this goes on, and people have to realize this and wake up to the fact that not only are they torturing these children, but, they can be everything from a food source to a source of energy, because this reptilian species that I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about all reptilian or all aliens, I'm talking about this particular one. I watched, and I don't know how I survived this, but I watched them at a time of a child's death suck in this energy that was some kind of like a drug to them, or maybe it was even some kind of a life essence for them as well, to continue their existence, possibly to continue their existence as the shapeshifters they can be, or possibly to continue their existence on this planet. I'm not sure which, but I've definitely got that's the feeling. And so this is horrible. This is what happened to the children. And if people just turn a blind eye, this is just going to continue to happen. That's why I'm bringing this on my show.
Yeah. And the point, even it's getting worse and worse. We know that one child, as an adult, then is raping, is torturing other children.
Yes.
So
yes.
It's increasing, and if you don't stop it, it's getting worse and worse. And I think this is the great danger. And if you do not look what happens to the children, yours will be next.
Yes, your children will be next. Exactly. You turn a blind eye to this, that it doesn't exist, and it will just keep on getting bigger and bigger, and they'll get more and more of a foothold and control.
Yeah. And what is also known, you told you said that the aliens would harvest energies.
Yes.
We know that the Satanists are obsessed of harvesting energies of the children too.
Satanists, yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yeah.
So just imagine what they're doing with hundreds of thousands of children worldwide, or even millions of children worldwide. And it's just incredible that no one is trying to stop it from governmental side.
Yes, it is. It is. Well, it speaks reams that there's some involvement there, of course, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I thought we were going on break. So we will be back and we'll just finish up with Andrea and then start on second guest, Carl Hussey.
listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Anti-aircraft guns went into action against unidentified aircraft in the Los Angeles area shortly after 3 a.m. Pacific wartime this morning.
We are far stronger than we were 10 weeks ago.
Zero quarters, all hands at your battle station.
You're nervous, mount your toes. I'll do the mastermind around here.
Those who have not seen it do not know what hell looks like from the top.
Bam! Check it out every Tuesday and Saturday on Revolution Radio. It's a double dose of the internationally recognized renegade military historian Douglas Dietrich.
You'll stay right where you are till I tell you to move out.
Yeah, that's right. Tuesdays from 10 to midnight Eastern Time. Join Douglas Dietrich as he exposes the truth in hidden history on his show Critical Omissions. And then our human weapon of mass destruction is back once again to take your calls on Saturday Night Firing Lines. Both from 10 to 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Only on Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com.
What are we supposed to do?
I'm gonna fight, because I'm used to it. The rest of you are gonna have a tougher choice. And look, I don't want to sell it to you. It's too ugly for that. And it's ugly, and it's hard. But when you're fighting in your own backyard, you're fighting for your family, it all hurts a little less and it makes a little more sense. But for us, this is our home. Even the tiniest flea can drive a big dog crazy. So the first thing we have to do is learn how to work together. Become a unit. And that's going to take some time. So we're going to have to evolve. Rewire our reflexes. Learn new skills and adapt old ones. So we'll find people we can trust. Friends with their ears to the ground who can help us get the things we need to fight back. Watch what they do. Study their tactics, their routines. The more we know, the easier it will be to hurt them. But we'll need to be smart, and we'll need to be patient. We'll hit them on our terms. When we're good and ready. We inherited our freedom. Now it's up to all of us to fight for it.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, where the fight begins and information never sleeps.
Enter into a world unseen on Raven Star's Witching Hour. You will encounter eclectic topics from the realm of spirit brought into our matrix of truth. With your host, the Solaris Blue Raven. Solaris will bring you an array of unique guests covering topics from ghostly spirits to amazing anomalies, covert technology, UFOs, and shadowy global events.
And that's right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Saturdays midnight till 2 a.m. Eastern Time. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Let the magic rise.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates.
You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
Okay, I also just wanted to remind you that Revolution Radio is listener-supported today through Tuesday, October 20th. Any $50 donation received during my show and it would be, and you would say Silver Rush, or you'd say my name, you'll receive a 1 ounce bar of silver. Also, for $75 donation, you would receive during my show, and you'd be sure and say my name and ball cap. You would receive Revolution Radio ball cap. Also, make sure that you do put your address details so that on every donation, so that they have that information as well. And go to our page that sells the seed packs. There's great seed packs that you can also purchase. So thank you for your listening, and thank you for your support for Revolution Radio. Now, I just wanted to finish up with Andrea before we went to Carl. Andrea, is there anything else you'd like to say? And also, I want you to be sure and give everyone your website and your other, your Facebook website, and then your other website as well.
Mm-hmm. The network website is traumabasedmindcontrol.com. I hope we will soon be able to have an English website as well. At the moment, we are focusing on the German-speaking countries. So of course, it's in German.
Of course.
But I hope soon we can have it at least partly translated into English also. And I just can summarizing that what is done worldwide on our children, on toddlers worldwide. If you look to Syria, if you look into the United States, if you look into the German-speaking countries, what they're doing to our children in some is so dangerous at the moment, and it in my opinion, these crimes will happen also to the grandchildren of those who look away right now. Mm-hmm. So it's very dangerous to ignore these happenings and all the suffering, because most of the children, in my opinion, are trained to become soldiers, to become military personnel. So you can have a guess what will happen to the next generations.
Yes, and it's so sad that the German-speaking countries haven't really already got this, because it happened once before with Hitler.
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely. And it even started before with programming based on trauma-based mind control, of course under a different term. But we already saw what it can cause when you look into the Nazi times, and history is just repeating itself if you do not look why this kind of people are doing it. And most of them also in the Nazi times were already programmed. Uh-huh. So it comes out that this kind of programmed robots are programming robots, and they are getting bigger and bigger. So it will be much more difficult in the next 20 years to change anything, because they are programming their own stuff at the moment.
Exactly.
In huge dimensions we cannot imagine, in my opinion.
Oh, yes, exactly. I mean, of course we work in everything with super soldiers and the Project Talents, and all of these didn't just start. They didn't just pick somebody up at 10 years old or 20 years old, and work on them. They started when they were children, possibly babies, but at least definitely children before the age of 10, for sure. So people have to have their eyes open to this kind of thing, and it's amazing what you're doing over there. I hope that you get to go in the conferences and different places like that to speak about this, so that this wakes up. Now, I understand you are now putting together another court of parents, and you're going to go back to for custody of your child. Is that what I understand?
Yes, definitely. I have the case brought into the Human Rights Court in Strasbourg.
Human Rights,
And the next court will be Den Haag, the International Prosecution Court. but nevertheless, I try to get back the custody of my son, because the most important thing is to get him back and get him out of the system.
Right. And you know, folks, Andrea is doing frontline work for people. She needs your assistance. You know, go to her website and donate. She really, really needs your help. I mean, she's covering all of these expenses, the court costs, all of these completely by herself. And it is not just about her child. And she could set a total precedent with everybody's children, for everybody's children in the European countries. So donate to her. She needs your assistance. She needs your help. And you know, contact her. If you've got some information that you want to share your experiences, contact her or myself about this. The more people come out about this, because we are the majority. There is a small minority that is running this particular whole thing. We are the majority, and we can make a difference. So, Andrea, I thank you so much for all your doing, and I pray for you and your challenges that are ahead of you. And I also understand that they're trying to make you look like you're crazy, correct? That's one of their other tools that they do, is make the mother look like she's crazy. So just briefly, what are they doing in that case? What are they coming up with to try to make you look insane?
They separated me from my son because they claimed I would be crazy. They ignored that 3 weeks before I passed the psychiatrical examination without any problem, Misha. And 3 weeks later, they claimed I would be so insane that they have to immediately separate my son from me. And a half year later, of course, they found then a psychiatrist writing this down, that I would be delusional. And based on my being delusional, as they claim, I lost custody and so on. And actually, it's quite it's just to silence me. It's just to frighten me, because you have no rights anymore. They can do anything, they can claim anything, and in the end of the day, you're the one who is crazy. But I don't give a shit about it, because toddlers are tortured, smallest children are tortured, so they can claim anything they want about me. Yes. It's about the life of our children, and the life of my son. So I don't mind, actually. Yeah. And nevertheless, they also tried to present me as the perpetrator. They tried to present me being a liar. It's just, of course, to try to kill you socially, to isolate you. They have enormous money and time to do so. So it's actually quite embarrassing, Misha. It's about the life of small children and toddlers, and it's quite shaming what they are doing to get rid of the problem, to be able to go on with the children, with the toddlers, and so far from my side.
Yes, it is, and it's amazing. Thank you very much for what you're doing. And I would say, I just put out a request for, how about a European lawyer that has a heart and has a soul to come forward and help this woman. And in fact, there are other women out there. They just need to know that there's someone on their side. And other women, she's their spokesperson. But there are other women in the same situation in the German-speaking countries that have had their children taken away, and they are wanting help. So please, I ask, is there a lawyer out there in the German-speaking countries, or in Europe, or even in America, who wants to help over here? At least to definitely keep help you with your case, which will set a precedent.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. That would be perfect. And thank you so much, Misha. And I'm so lucky to have some academic degrees, so I can articulate, especially in German, and other mothers do not have these possibilities, So I decided to stand in the first row, as it's called in German. Speak out for the others. So it would be really great if any lawyer could look at our cases, because we have so many open injuries. Human rights situation is horrible within this topic.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, thank you so much, Andrea, for coming on again. I'm hoping the next time I have you on, we'll have some real good news, and that Uki will be out and with you again. Did see this happen here locally in America. A woman had lost custody of her child, and through some assistance and some help from others and her own perseverance, she now has her child with her, and her child is safe once again. However, guess what she has to do? She has to be on the run. She's living all over she's moving and moving and moving. So it's pretty sad that a mother has to do that to protect their child, but we thank you so much for coming on. And
thanks for having me, Misha.
Thank you. And so, we're gonna hear from Carl Hussey. He's from the Bangor Exopolitics group of Bangor, Wales in UK. The Bangor Exopolitics aim is to discuss politics, government, and law in the universe and on Earth, and to try and act as a pressure group upon those withholding the truth from us regarding the extraterrestrials' presence, current engaging the human race, commonly known as the Truth Embargo. This group is endorsed by the Paradigm Research Group in the USA. Of course, that is Stephen Bassett's group. And he has a Facebook group called BEG, or Bangor Exopolitics Group. And he just got that group started, so go join his group. Get talking about these things. I'm sure that he will be talking about maybe some similar kinds of things that maybe he's uncovered with his research and such. And he also was part of I guess it was kind of like a program in a college research program. So he'll be talking about that. And I want to thank you, Carl, for joining us today.
Hello, Misha. Thank you very much. It's great to be on your show. Thank you, Andrea, for your insightful talk there. It was very interesting about what I regard as my labs, primarily military abductions. That's what I'm familiar with when it comes to child abduction. Mm-hmm. So greetings to you all from the United Kingdom, here in Wales and Bangor. My experiences started with the ETs in 1999 after university graduation and traveling across the USA and then on into Australia. Mm-hmm. These ET experiences involve Zetan beings, and also when I was traveling into Australia, I was involved briefly with, I can't mention their name because they will probably sue me,
a
religious or black magic cult. And I was shown for 1 hour by these beings a dark, twisted Orwellian vision of the future, of a police state and a controlled society, best described in George Orwell's book, 1984, mm-hmm. which I studied when I was at school. Very interesting book, fascinating book. Mm-hmm. I have a diagnosis of bipolar, which means that my exopolitics work and research, which I've been doing for 15 years now, over 15 years, has to be managed carefully. I'm currently writing a book. Some of it is available on Google. Just Google my name, Carl R. Hussey, and it'll come up for you on Scribed, the website scribe.com, for free. And it's called Exopolitics, Bipolar and Me. About a quarter of the way through it, Misha. It's been an interesting write for me, and it's allowed me to put my heart on my sleeve and get my thoughts and feelings out, which have been with me for many, many years, about this subject. And then moving on to my group, which is the Bangor Exopolitics group, or BEG. If you Facebook, just type in BEG on Facebook, and it'll come up for you. I started this in 2014 with email contact and direction from Steve Bassett of the Paradigm Research Group. We've got over 25 members, and we're a small but growing group where we post various select information dealing with exopolitics and full disclosure, because that's what we're looking for here, full disclosure of the ET presence and an ending of the over 70 years now since at least 1947, the Roswell crash, the very infamous Roswell crash in New Mexico, USA. And I've been to Roswell, I've been to the museum dealing with the Roswell crash. It's fascinating to go there. I recommend anybody to go there and have a look around, and you will come away with hopefully an insight into what is going on with the exopolitics field from an historical perspective, going back to 1947. And we're looking for an ending of the truth embargo, Misha. We all are dealing with this subject because the truth has been withheld from us for too long. And it's time to lift the lid or blow the lid off the global elites that are trying to, haven't managed too well to suppress this knowledge for so long.
Yes.
Now, I've been studying exopolitics for over 15 years, Misha, and I've got 35 key books on the subject, which I've ordered off the internet. Just type in exopolitics books into Google and take your choice from Dr. Stephen Greer of CSETI, which is the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, www.cseti.org. Fascinating website. Dr. Greer is the father of the disclosure movement. We've got Alfred Lamont Webre, who's also bipolar, like me, and he is the father of exopolitics. Fantastic books as he writes. His most recent one is Exopolitics, Politics, Government and Law in the Universe. And we've got Paul Hallier's book. Paul Hallier is a great guy. He was the former acting Prime Minister of Canada. And his book, if you want to get to grips with the subject quickly, if you're a busy person, you haven't got time to go through my material on Facebook, you haven't got time to go through it on Google, and you Google Carl Hussey, and what you read is a bit too in-depth for you, or maybe you haven't got time to read it, well, go to Paul Hallier's book, The Money Mafia, A World in Crisis by Paul T. Hallier. Fascinating book. It's about $20, and it deals with amazing book that reveals how a small group of greedy men upsurge the people's power and use politicians to transfer that power to a cabal dedicated to a new world order imposed by an unelected, unaccountable world government. The world crisis that we're currently in, and it is a world crisis, Misha.
Yes.
That we're currently in.
Yes.
Can be traced back to this cabal, which is now international in scope. Global warming, which is humankind's number one problem at the moment, is largely ignored because the cabal, including the oil cartel, wants it that way. The money crisis that we're facing at the moment, high unemployment, a lost generation of young people, and I've worked with a lot of young people, Misha, is directly attributable to a rotten banking system that makes us all slaves to debt. Paul's fascinating book, which I've got in my hand now, explains the black nature of the money mafia at the apex of the cabal. The cabal also controls the extraterrestrial file, but denies the fact vehemently. This book exposes the lies and monstrous deceptions in the call to action. Paul Hallier, the acting Prime Minister of Canada, former acting Prime Minister of Canada, is asking for a call to action on the part of all decent, human-loving, planet-loving people everywhere to come to their senses and embrace a new cosmic reality. That's what we're working towards, Misha, at the Bangor Exopolitics Group. A new cosmic Star Trek future that takes us out of poverty, takes us out of war, takes us out of environmental degradation of the planet, the raping of the natural resources, etc., etc., etc. The Star Trek future awaits us, but first we must have, as Dr. Stephen Greer has recently disclosed on some of his videos on YouTube, we must have mass defections from the cabal and the military-industrial complex, which President Eisenhower warned us about in January 1961, farewell address to the American people. Beware of the military-industrial complex. Mm-hmm. And we must have mass defections from the cabal. But we also must have mass contact with the ETs. And as you know, Misha, I've looked at your work, and you've been involved with CSETI, and I have had contact visually, in the sky, on the ground, et cetera, with the ETs and with the craft. So we need to have mass contact, mass educational awareness of exopolitics, I think, and ending of the truth embargo, and mass defections. We need to have some mass defections going on here. There already has been a lot of defections from the military-industrial complex, the cabal, and the secret societies that are trying to control us all. But we need mass defections going on here and mass contact, Misha. Mm-hmm. And that's the future that awaits us if we can just wake up and educate ourselves and empower ourselves to take the Star Trek future, which awaits us all, Misha. Yes. Thank you for listening.
You know, the Star Trek future, describe to people what a Star Trek future would look like. Because hey, it's a lot better than the one we got going on right now.
It certainly is, Misha. The Star Trek future, as prophesized, if you will, by Gene Roddenberry, the great Gene Roddenberry. Mm-hmm. It's a future of free energy. It's a future of 0-point energy devices. A future of environmental repair. The rainforests will be all replanted so we can suck all this carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. It's a future of health, religious upheaval and overhaul, political upheaval and overhaul, educational upheaval and overhaul, and media upheaval and overhaul, and a health sector, which I do work in at the moment, upheaval and overhaul. So it's the problem at the moment, Misha, is our society is about consume, success, and so-called happiness. It's just a complete delusionary state from a cosmic perspective.
Yes.
The Star Trek future that awaits us. And I'm confident that if we all work together with the exopolitics knowledge that's already out there and is yet to come, will be a reality for us. And it's just a future of peace, harmony, and tranquility, and exploration of the universe, as envisaged in Gene Roddenberry's first show, Star Trek, the original Star Trek. I'm a big fan of Star Trek, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, the other Enterprise show, which was cancelled. So thank you to CBS Studios, and I have worked before with Time Warner in the entertainment industry. Thank you to CBS Studios and Gene Roddenberry, William Shatner, who's just come out recently on my Facebook page. You will see I posted him saying that it's Captain Kirk of the USS Enterprise saying to us that they've just discovered water on Mars, and potentially there is going to be life on Mars. So these are great, exciting times, Misha.
Carl, do you find it very interesting that the very day that they talk about life on Mars, the Mars movie comes out?
Yes, it's all linked in, isn't it, Misha? Basically.
Yes, very, very perfectly synchronized.
Because what we're dealing with here is a leaky truth embargo. Mm-hmm. The powers that be realized probably way back in 1947, when the original press release went out about the Roswell crash, that they couldn't keep it a secret then. They can't keep it a secret now. And the people need to know. The people need to know the truth and deserve to know the truth. Mm-hmm. And deserve to have a Star Trek future, Misha, because we are cosmic beings, spiritual beings in physical bodies. Mm-hmm. Some of us are ET descended. Mm-hmm. Mary Rodwell is also on my Facebook page, has recently revealed that we have 12 strands of DNA from ET races, which is absolutely fascinating.
Yes, it is.
But the thing is about exopolitics, Misha, and studying Star Trek, rather than Star Wars, which is where we are potentially now. Yes, I'm looking forward to the new Star Wars film, Force Awakens. I love George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, all the great Hollywood directors. Uh-huh. But the subject is vast. Exopolitics as a subject is vast. But it is our human future, and we at the Bangor Exopolitics Group will always try and educate people about the human future, the positive human timeline that awaits us all on that Star Trek future. I'm sorry to keep going on about it, but I just had a vision ever since way back in 1999 that this would lead to the USS Enterprise, some sort of a USS Enterprise being built, and NASA's got plans for this. It's also on the BEG Facebook page about the construction plans for a sort of USS Enterprise that will take us out beyond the solar system and into the stars, into the cosmos. It's a fantastic journey we've been on, Misha.
Yes.
It's a fantastic journey we're on, and it's going to be even more fantastic in the future, in my opinion. Yes.
Just as long as the USS Enterprise doesn't just only hold the elite in it. Yes. There's certain people I wouldn't want on my bridge. Yeah, exactly.
If I was to become some sort of a pseudo captain of the Enterprise, God forbid, I wouldn't want the Kissingers on there. I wouldn't want the Bushes. I wouldn't want the Blairs anywhere near the bridge of the USS Enterprise. I could go on.
Rothschilds, no.
The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, etc.
Right.
The global power elites. Yes, the great book I can recommend, which I've got. It's a fantastic book. Who's Who of the Elite? Members of the Bilderbergs, Council on Foreign Relations and Trilateral Commission by Robert Gaylon Ross Sr. Absolutely fascinating, and I have reviewed this book on if you just on Amazon, and I would ask people if they want to flick through and have a look at the thousands of individuals that compose the global elite and want to blow the lid on them so we can get to Star Trek, get the book, read the book, and couple it with Paul Hellier's book, The Money Mafia, and you've got yourself a bit of an explosive combination there that can wake you up and push your consciousness forward into the Star Trek future. But I always say to people, people say to me, Carl, I want to get to grips with this subject quickly. I'm new to the subject. I always say, Google, just type in www.cseti.org, Dr. Greer's website, the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence. And that's what I always say to people, Misha. It's a great place to start, and it's a great place to watch Dr. Greer's most recent film, Cirrus, which I've got. Fantastic film about how these Kabbalists, these covert fascists, these evil people, really, black hats within rogue elements of the militaries of the world, the US military. I don't know about the British military. I haven't studied the British military. The problem with the British, Misha, is we're very tight-lipped. And a lot of the information I've studied deals with the USA situation as opposed to the UK situation. Yes. Although we have got people like Nick Pope and other individuals who are gradually revealing what is going on at the Ministry of Defence here in the UK. And it's been a fascinating story over the years, and a lot of information has been released by the UK Ministry of Defence. Probably just Google UK Ministry of Defence ET UFO files, and it will come up with a variety of information, I have no doubt. Yes.
You know, during the hearings, there were a few English, at least there was two, I remember, witnesses that spoke at the hearings.
Yes.
And then, of course, wasn't Paul Hellyer one of them?
Paul did speak.
Yes,
the Honourable Paul T. Hellyer spoke, and I always remember him. To get to grips with this part of what Misha's saying, folks, you need to Google PRG, Paradigm Research Group, or Google the Citizens Hearing on Disclosure. That's the Citizens Hearing on Disclosure. It's a fantastic week-long expose of truth activists like myself, exopolitics researchers like Richard Dolan. I've got his book, which is AD, After Disclosure, fantastic read, as endorsed by Bryce Zabel, the Roswell Show, and we've got Nick Pope for the Ministry of Defence in the UK, and Paul back to Paul Hellyer. Paul Hellyer was talking most profoundly about the Keepers by Jim Sparks book.
Oh,
and
yes.
Jim Sparks has an alien message for the human race. And I want to I've got the book in my hand now with regards to the money mafia. And the main message, in my opinion, for the human race from the ETs is that your air, your water are contaminated. Your forests, jungles, trees and plant life are dying. There are several breaks in your food chain. You have an overwhelming amount of nuclear and biological weapons, which include nuclear and biological contamination. Warning, your planet is almost to the point of being too late. It is dying, unless your people act. There are better ways of deriving energy and food needs without causing your planet any damage. Here's the key point. Those in power are aware of this and have the capability of putting these methods into worldwide use.
Yes.
What I say is to research exopolitics, get into exopolitics, get up one morning and decide that not that you're not going to go to work one day, but that you're going to have a look at this exopolitics issue. Educate yourself and try and embrace the truth activism that is out there, Misha, because the journey I've been on over the past 15 years has been absolutely fascinating. Up, down, left, right. I'm involved with studies at Bangor University here in the UK, in Wales, dealing with exopolitics and how we make sense of and respond to unusual experiences. It's in my opinion that a lot of people out there, a lot of good, decent, honest people of this planet, this wonderful planet Earth, have had unusual experiences but don't know what to do about it. Mm-hmm. Well, my response again is to study exopolitics and just have a look at my website. Facebook, BEG, the Bangor Exopolitics Group. I have put a whole barrage of information on there for people to have a look at, Misha. Yes, I have. Yes, and I hope people find it fascinating, enjoyable, enlightening, wonderful, a bit crazy in places maybe. They may find this is just absolutely crazy, they may think to themselves. But it's the truth. The truth will set you free, Misha, as we all know.
That's right.
The truth will set you free. As Dr. Greer says, first it'll piss you off, I'm afraid. First it'll piss you off. And the truth is stranger than fiction. The truth is absolutely stranger than fiction. Yes. Yes, I learned that back in 1999, that this is just quite interesting, very interesting. I studied business studies at university, so I was kind of like aware of the business dynamics of power brokers in the world, the businessmen of the world, mm-hmm. who mainly comprise the cabal, I think.
Yes.
Because it's because the cabalists, the elitists, are corporatists, and corporatism is fascism, and they're covert fascism. They're covert fascists hiding in the dark, while the politicians are out the front, revolving door politicians of various political parties. I don't really vote anymore. I've lost all faith in the political system, both in the USA and in the UK. Although you'll see from my Facebook pages that I do have faith in certain politicians. John Fitzgerald Kennedy, President Kennedy, who was slain by the cabal. President Jimmy Carter, who was also ridiculed by the cabal. And, of course, President Bill Clinton. I've got a few of President Bill Clinton's books. And his most recent book is called Giving. President Bill Clinton, Giving. If you want to read the psychology of President Bill Clinton, and when Bill Clinton was president, I was in America in 1998, working with American kids, had a fantastic time. I learned a lot about American culture and the good American people. And Bill Clinton is a guy that said, there's a hidden government within the government, and I've got no control over it. And his wife, Hillary Clinton, we've got the Rockefeller Initiative, where if you Google, again, my Facebook page, you'll see that she met with a Rockefeller, Lawrence Rockefeller, who's a good Rockefeller, not a bad Rockefeller. And they're trying to bring this truth out into the open, Misha, obviously, as we in the know. Yes.
Really? The Clintons, you feel, are trying to?
Well, when it comes to your next election cycle, I feel that if you go to PRG and Steve Bassett and the websites, the Truth Embargo websites and the Congressional Hearing Initiative and the current congressional resources that have been delivered to congressmen, senators, and esteemed politicians on Capitol Hill, that we're moving to a period of after disclosure. As Dr. Greer says, we are in a period of disclosure. We've had disclosure and we are having disclosure. And with regards to the politicians, yes, over the years, it's been just window dressing. Yeah. Reagan and Gorbachev, the Cold War, and Thatcher. I've studied Margaret Thatcher, my Prime Minister here in the UK, former Prime Minister in the UK. And it's a fascinating story of what the Cold War was really about. It was partly about ET contact and malevolent forces that were surrounding the planet at that time, I think. Although I'm not fully aware of that, Misha. But what's happened with the whole worldwide political system is it's become corrupted. It's become unstable. We've got this war in Syria at the moment, the situation in Syria, in the Middle East, which is a add-on to the Bush-Blair years, the horrible Bush-Blair years that we endured for 8 years, Misha, where basically I realized early on that Bush has stolen the election, which he did from Al Gore, and I like Al Gore. I'm very respectful of Al Gore, and his films on environmentalism are very pertinent for these times. I realized that the cabal had moved into the White House, and it was a shocking time.
Yeah,
horrible time, Misha, for all of us in the world, especially the American people.
And unfortunately, I'm afraid it hasn't moved out yet.
With Obama, I feel that he's partly a Kabbalist and partly trying to move away from the Kabbalists. But who knows? Next in line for the presidency, maybe Hillary Clinton. Who knows? But I've just lost faith in the political process.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of American people and British people have lost faith in the political process.
Exactly.
And if you study exopolitics, there's a politics in there. If you study exopolitics, you will get to grips with what these politicians are hiding from us, why they are hiding it from us, and why they have lost control. When you realize, Misha, that they've lost control, you have to take matters into your own hands, calmly, smoothly, lawfully. I do not advocate breaking the law, and work towards exopolitical awareness for yourself, for other people, and for each other. So, to finish on this point, I don't mean to rant on, I'm afraid, or go on, but I think the best way to start is to go back to cseti.org, Dr. Greer's website, and get a copy of Cirrus Disclosure Film, the film that is released on DVD. And that will help you in your journey, your truth journey, towards enlightenment and a realization that we're not alone in the universe. The universe is a vast place. How can we possibly be alone? It's preposterous. Only the human race could think it was alone in the universe.
Yes, that's true.
And in the future, Misha, when we get to the Star Trek Society, and we've got Starfleet Command in San Francisco, and Paramount are actually coming to London in 2020. Paramount Studios will be building a Star Trek theme park in London. So please Google that as well. And that's also on my Facebook page. Mm-hmm. So the studios and the media and the powers that be are trying to educate us that, yes, we're moving to a Star Trek future, but it's going to take a bit of a bumpy ride to get there. I'm afraid, as is depicted in the Star Wars universe. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, So what would you say? I mean, you know, we need to be educated. We need to get people educated. But what do you say to the people who aren't even awake and they're not going to pick up these books? They're not going to read them because they don't even know they exist. They aren't the type of people that listen to any of these radio shows. They're the type of people that watch the football game and keep up with the Joneses.
Yeah.
What do you? What? How do we reach the majority of the populace?
The majority of the populace, the grassroots. I've always believed you cannot force this.
Right.
You can't force this on people, Misha.
Right.
You've got to be open-minded with it all. I still am open-minded with it all. Of course, I'm way beyond the day where I didn't believe in ETs, didn't believe in UFOs, military abductions, which Andrea talked about, and ritual child sacrifice and other horrendous things that have been going on over the years, I suspect, although I'm not too knowledgeable about what Andrea was talking about.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with what was going on in Nazi Germany in 1939 and beyond. I've been to Auschwitz concentration camp, and it's very enlightening, Misha. As discussed in Mark Kimmel's book of cosmicparadigm.com, Chrysalis, his book is called Chrysalis, Angels, ETs and Us. Mark has helped me a little bit over the years with email exchanges, and Mark reveals in this fascinating book on his website the alien Hitler connection, and I think it's revealed in other books I've got.
Wow.
The connection between it was Zetans' service to South Zetans as opposed to service to other Zetans, which I'm involved in with. The website to go on, folks, to get to grips with the Zetan perspective on this is Zeta Talk. Nancy Leider, telepathic communicator for the Zetans, Zeta Talk, and that's also on my Facebook page. And the information on there took me 3 years to get through, and I learned what was going on from the Zetan perspective.
Mm-hmm.
They want us to evolve, Misha. The other good extraterrestrial races out there want us to evolve. And they want us to break free of this controlled society that is an excuse for some sort of parliamentary democracy. They want us to break free of the mass programming. They want us to break free of the ownership control of resources by the oil cartels, by the genetically modified organism and ingredient cartels. They want us to break free from money as debt, and they want us to break free from this money system. And the book again to read is The Money Mafia, A World in Crisis by Paul T. Hellyer. I mentioned it before, and I'll mention it again. It's a brilliant book, folks, and it's a great book to get to grips with. Now, your question was, how do we educate the grassroots people that don't believe in this stuff? I'd say go to the movies and go and watch some films. Like Paul is a fantastic film with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. It's a wonderful disclosure film by the movie industry. And we all know the movie industry is full of experiences, ET contactee people and the rest of it. As Bob Dean says in his presentations, former NATO commander, who read a study by Oxford Universities, Oxford and Cambridge, called The Assessment of ET Contact During the Cold War, we are dealing with the three Stevens and the apocalypse, Misha. Steven Spielberg, Stephen Greer, and Stephen Bassett. The three Stevens of the apocalypse.
Oh, okay.
But if you wanted to get to grips with how to avert the apocalypse, which is, in my opinion, worldwide ecological collapse, watch movies like Paul. These guys are from the producers of Hot Fuzz. And to quote Empire magazine, film magazine in the UK, London, UK, pure Pegg and Frost. Very, very funny. Fantastic film, Misha. So buy a film. Watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Steven Spielberg's film, with Richard Dreyfuss, actor Richard Dreyfuss, who's also a bipolar person in real life. Watch E.T., Spielberg's classic film E.T. Watch The X-Files.
Oh, yeah. There's a new movie that's out I'd like to mention.
Yes.
It's called Gemini Ascending.
Gemini Ascending. I'll have to Google that after the show.
You definitely have to watch that. Gemini Ascending, I don't want to give away the plot, but it is got a lot of real stuff in it. And I got to tell you, they have the reptilians
Oh,
Exactly.
yes.
The reptilians look exactly like they've got them on there. And the draconian reptilians. I'm not going to say.
Yeah,
I'm going
the
to
bad guys, yeah?
Yeah.
The bad
The
guys.
service to self ones, draconian.
The service to self extraterrestrials, yes.
Right. And the whole premises of the movie is like absolutely true. Of course, they put some crap in it. Hollywood does that.
Yeah,
it was really, really a good movie. And there's just there's the one about the time. There's so many movies that they can get that can just wake them up. In fact, I've actually had conversations with my family about these movies when they're saying, "Oh, this is this, and it was good and stuff," and I'll say, "These are real things. You really, really need to realize." This is really happening in the NASA program. This is happening in your government. This is
absolutely,
mm-hmm.
Absolutely, Misha. And I'm really looking forward. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You'll see that on my Facebook pages.
Yes.
And I'm really looking forward to, because I read in one book by an explosive book from a NASA employee about the Apollo moon landings, and the fact that after Apollo 17 we were warned off by the ETs from going any further.
Yes.
Than the moon.
Yes.
They got us to, they couldn't abort the space program. They were NASA was locked in, and NASA stands for never a straight answer. If NASA's never a straight answer, and the CIA stands for crooks in action, although there is some good white hats in the CIA, and the NSA, the National Security Agency. I've got a great book by Dan Sherman called Project Preserve Destiny, Alien Contact and Government Cover-Up. That's the first book I showed to people, Misha, interested in the subject. Dan Sherman, NSA operative, government contact, alien contact, and government cover-up. And if you go onto my Facebook pages again, you'll see I've done a short video clip of me presenting some material from that book. It's fantastic. It's an amazing revelation of what the NSA is up to. But it's level 5 information. What Edward Snowden is revealing is merely level 1 information. But it's certainly getting Russia excited. And it's got the disdain of President Obama and the American intelligence community. But we've got to come to a resolution swiftly with regards to the environmental catastrophe that's about to unfold. We've got to come to a resolution with this Middle East situation. And we have got to educate ourselves from the grassroots as how to take back the power which Abraham Lincoln, President Lincoln, was so fond of for the American people, the wonderful culture of America, and that the founding fathers, they would go absolutely livid if they could see what has happened to America now, Misha.
Yeah.
They really would. They would go livid. And the American people need to wake up quickly and take back their power, because the power has been taken from you. But there's a similar situation here in the UK, Misha. We are suffering from institutional, political, fatigue. We are fatigued with the political process. The politicians have gone essentially crazy. Not all of them. There's some good people out there. There's some good politicians like Paul Hellyer that's written the book that I've recommended to the listeners tonight, Misha. But most politicians are just out of the loop on this. They're out of the loop because the secrecy is 25 levels deep black, buried in some deep underground military base, which you've been in, Dulce, Area 51, Dreamland, the Cuba S4. The list goes on, Misha. The list goes on as to what's been going on over the years. And the American people and the British people and the people at the United Nations need to take back their power. Now, feel free to Google Carl Hussey UN petition. If you want to make a difference, please sign my petition, which I have already sent to the UN. I've had no response from them because I've only got about 100 signatures. Give me 1,000 signatures, and I might have more of an impact on the United Nations.
Hey, one more time, tell us what that's called again.
It's the Carl Hussey UN UFO petition.
A UFO petition, okay.
Yes.
Well, I really encourage you to put those on the MK Ultra site, the other Starseed site.
I will make sure, yes.
I'd love to have you put lists of these books so that people can get to these books and read them and everything.
Yes.
You're an amazing person. You know your books, don't you? That's That's great. That's amazing.
I love books, Misha. Books. A home without books and a home without a library is a home without a soul. Books are the way to educate yourself about what is out there and what's going on. And they really wake you up psychologically to the whole premise that once you read some of these books that I've got, some of these 35 exopolitics books, and more to come. There's more to come, Misha, from some of these great writers. Yeah. Richard Dolan, Steve Bassett hasn't written a book yet. Mm-hmm. We're waiting for Bob Dean's book to come out.
Oh, yes, I'm waiting for that one, too. Yeah.
We're waiting for Bob Dean to blow the lid on what's going on here. He's done it visually on YouTube, and in other sites I've been on, such as, let me think.
He's been in conventions. I've been to
conventions.
So many years. He's talked about this, and
yes,
he's a wonderful whistleblower.
Yes, and Serpo is also a fantastic. www.serpo.org, I think. Oh, yeah. I've got the book on Serpo about the. Thank God for President Kennedy, because when you read this book, you'll realize that President Kennedy established a secret military group, kind of like a NASA mission, to go to one of the ET planets and meet with the ETs. And it's serpo.org is the website to go on. And that's fascinating too. But what amazes me, Misha, is the size of the exopolitical, the size of this story and how it's been hidden from us for so many years. It's absolutely unbelievable, because the truth, I'm going to quote from Dr. Weber's book here, the truth is absolutely, what did he say here? Hang on a second. The truth is shocking, disturbing, frightening, and socially and theologically explosive. But exopolitics can show us the way. And yes, Misha, exopolitics can show us the way to the Star Trek future, which I keep going on about. Yes. Sorry to keep going on about it, Misha, but it's my guiding light. I'm giving the talk now to the listeners, and I have my Star Trek models around me, all lit up, and I don't lose sight of the fact, because it keeps me sane, Misha, because the information is quite disturbing in parts.
Oh, of course it is.
It's quite disturbing in parts, as relayed by your previous guest there, Andrea. But if you keep a vision of a Star Trek future, rather than Star Wars, then you can keep your sanity, keep your marbles, study exopolitics, and find peace within yourself, each other, and just realize that we can repair this beautiful planet Earth, Misha, because that's one of the things I was told by the ETs. Earth is unique, absolutely unique in the universe. But when you've traveled around it like I have, I've been lucky enough to visit 25 different countries. It doesn't take a genius to work that one out, basically. And I say to the listeners, if you want to help, the key problem I've been told by the ETs is the environmental problems. Watch Leonardo DiCaprio's film, The 11th Hour. Subscribe and have a look at organizations like the World Land Trust. Other charities I support are Tree Aid and an American charity, Trees for the Future. So trees, we need a planet covered in trees, Misha, to suck all the CO2 and carbon emissions out of the atmosphere. Yes.
So, we're almost out of time. I just want to make sure that you get all of your points out. And I also wanted to thank our first guest, Andrea Sadegh.
Oh, yes, thank you. Yes.
And her wonderful work that she's doing in the German-speaking countries. And right there on the front lines, and then you and your amazing research and work that you're doing. So, Carl, just one last thing that you could say to people of what they can do. In my opinion, also, we have to realize that we do not want a civilization like they're trying to force on us, and that we, as spiritual enlightened beings that have purposely come to Earth to assist this planet, really have something that we can do about it. Oh, yes. You know what? Thank you so much, Carl. I want to also tell you that my guest next week is Robert Sullivan, Cinema Symbolism. So we're going to get into the Hollywood and the symbolism of Hollywood. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. And we'll be right back after this message.
Enjoy your extra big-ass fries.
You didn't give me no fries. I got an empty box.
Would you like another extra big-ass fries?
I said I didn't get any.
Thank you. Your account has been charged. Your balance is 0. Please come back when you can afford to make a purchase.
No.
I'm sorry you're having
Come
trouble.
on. My kids are starving.
Thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio. Here at Revolution Radio, we believe in freedom of ideas, freedom of speech, but above all, we believe in freedom of existence through self-reliance. This station is 100% listener-supported, and as a fundraising promotion, I have a kick-ass free gift for a $100 donation. 35,000 seeds. 25 years in the freezer. Long-term storable, 54 different varieties. So if food prices go crazy, the shit hits the fan, or if you just want to save tons of money every year by creating your own food like I do, grab our seed pack special. Just look for the banner on the homepage at freedomslips.com. Don't be a statistic. Don't be part of the problem. Be part of the solution. We need, as humans, to start taking care of ourselves and not depending on the megacorps to provide unhealthy, nasty food. Included in this package is also a DVD with 900 survival and off-grid living documents and the offline home canning how to do everything website all on the DVD. So when you're growing all that food, you know how to can it, store it, preserve it, etc. with all these documents. So thank you for tuning in to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com. I hope that you will pick up this package and start learning to be free. Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, where information never sleeps and freedom is one seed that needs to be planted.
What we do in life, it goes in eternity.
What are we supposed to do?
I'm gonna fight, because I'm used to it. The rest of you are gonna have a tougher choice. And look, I don't want to sell it to you. It's too ugly for that. And it's ugly, and it's hard. But when you're fighting in your own backyard, you're fighting for your family, it all hurts a little less and it makes a little more sense. But for us, this is our home. Even the tiniest flea can drive a big dog crazy. So the first thing we have to do is learn how to work together. Become a unit. And that's going to take some time. So we're going to have to evolve. Rewire our reflexes. Learn new skills and adapt old ones. So we'll find people we can trust. Friends with their ears to the ground who can help us get the things we need to fight back.